Hey guys, it's Meal Before Me, and I'm back with something a little different. This time I'm talking about Factor, formerly known as Factor75, except for their website, which is still Factor75. And the first thing I want to make clear is that this isn't some investigative report on the dark side of Factor's moon, so if you came here expecting a scandal, you might as well click away. Instead, I'm going to explain why I initially said I wasn't going to review Factor, why I recently changed my mind, and why I immediately changed it back again after starting the process. If you don't know, Factor delivers fresh, ready-to-eat meals straight to your door. They're America's #1 choice for prepared meals, according to them. Their menu includes over 30 chef-crafted, dietitian-approved recipes, plus add-ons, and they generally seem to be geared towards people looking to eat better in less time. They were acquired by HelloFresh back in 2020. For better or worse, I don't know, though I do like HelloFresh. I reviewed it here on the channel. So Factor was on my list of services to cover until that fateful day when everything changed. It's the summer of 2022. I'm at my computer gearing up to give Factor a go, and I like to get an idea of any red flags I should be aware of before I try something, so I did a quick search on Reddit and was met with the reddest of flags in the form of a recall. Specifically, one of Factor's rice suppliers voluntarily recalled their product due to the potential presence of glass fragments. So Factor had emailed their customers warning them of the impacted meals, offering them a $5 credit to their accounts, which, according to customers complaining at the time, didn't even cover the cost of the meals. Now, if you want to know more about that, you can look it up. The point is that it understandably put me off trying them because recalls are no joke. In fact, I recently saw that the first food delivery service I ever covered on this channel, called Daily Harvest, was hit with a lawsuit last year from customers claiming to have liver damage from some lentil and leek thing they sold. So Factor's glass shard recall, plus a stream of longtime customers saying their quality had taken a nosedive after HelloFresh acquired them, was enough for me to give Factor a pass. Fast forward to nearly a year later, I decided to try Factor after all because the general feedback from customers seemed far better, there was nothing worrisome about their meals in recent news, and it's such a popular company that I felt I'd be remiss if I didn't cover it here. So despite having more reservations than Shea Goo Goo Gaga, I sat down, hit record, and it all went south from there, friends. And since I didn't do a full review, I at least wanted to share what happened to give you some insight into why I called it quits, so here we are. To get started, I headed over to Factor75.com. As expected with most of these services, they were running a promo for new customers. In my case, it was 50% off the first box and 20% off the next 4, which is fantastic. First, you choose your preferences from Chef's Choice, Keto, Calorie Smart, Vegan and Veggie, and Protein Plus. You can also mix and match. Then you select the number of meals from 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, or 18. I chose 8 to have at least 1 per day, and the total was $103.92. The discount brought it down to $51.96, which was $6.50 per serving, meaning per meal. After selecting the plan, I entered my email address to register, and here's where we hit my first complaint. No matter how loudly companies shout from the rooftops that they won't share or sell your information, your data is their most valuable commodity, so they collect it like their lives depend on it because their profits do. Entering my email address before I could do anything, that's par for the course. Companies want to get you on their mailing list as soon as possible so they can pelt you with offers whether you use their service or not. But asking for my name, number, and mailing address before I've even looked at anything they have rubbed me the wrong way. It said I needed to enter my zip code to see if they deliver to me, but with other services, I only entered my zip code for that, not my entire address. At any rate, with $10.99 for shipping, the total for the first box was $62.95, which is comparable to what I paid Cook Unity for 8 meals. If you'll recall, I got 50% off my first box with them as well, only each meal was cheaper at $5.85. Taxes and fees brought their total to $61.79. Now, if you don't recall that because you didn't watch my Cook Unity review, please do. It's a similar service and a lot of people compare them, so if you're curious about Factor, I genuinely think you should look into Cook Unity too. Anyway, back to Factor. I was ordering on Saturday, May 13th, and after entering my address, it set my delivery date to Tuesday, May 23rd, though there was a notice saying it would arrive on the 24th instead due to Labor Day, which made me feel dumb because Labor Day is in September. And if I'm wrong about that, let's just keep it a secret. So the address thing was a minor gripe, but the next thing was more of a sticking point, because with every service I've reviewed up till now, I was able to change my delivery date up front. Yet I didn't see an option to do that here. Despite my concern, I assumed I'd be able to do it later, so I clicked next. As you may have already noticed from the progress bar on top, the next thing it asked for was my payment information. And if there's one thing on that list that should come last, it's paying. Imagine walking into a furniture store and they say, "Welcome to Furnishim's Furnishings, where we furnish your dreams. How can we help you?" And you say, "I'm just here for one of those $100 dining room tables you've been advertising. I'm excited to browse your selection." And they say, "Great, give us your credit card. You can browse them after you've paid us." No, absolutely not. To say that I despise the fact that I was asked for my payment information before choosing my meals would be an understatement. But against my better judgment, I said I might as well continue and at least see what they've got, since I really did want to bring you guys a review. So I begrudgingly entered my payment info, which is likely the precise behavior they banked on, and I noticed there still wasn't an option for me to change the delivery date. Now, upon submitting my payment, there was an obnoxious pop-up asking where I heard of them. I chose Other because I didn't want to be bothered. Then it landed me on this page. And you can see that I clicked on the box showing my first delivery date, thinking it might be a link to edit it, but it was just text. I clicked Continue to select my meals. Like most of these services, they pre-selected them based on my preferences, but I wasn't interested in editing them just yet. I wanted to change my delivery date, and I clicked every place on the screen that mentioned that date, trying to do so. Scrolling down, I finally saw a plan settings box with links labeled Change under each item. What do you think happened when I clicked Change under delivery day? I'll tell you what didn't happen. It didn't let me change my delivery day. It just took me back to my address. So I went searching through Factor's FAQs because I couldn't imagine that there wouldn't be a way to change my delivery date. It's a standard feature for these services. But I didn't see instructions anywhere, so I went to their contact page looking for an email address, and there wasn't one. Fun fact, I later noticed it was posted in the terms of service. That's usually where the legal team's contact information goes, but fine. So I hopped on chat support instead and typed change delivery date as the topic I wanted to explore. And I love how Basil, the virtual assistant, or Basil for us Yanks, said, "I'll gladly provide you with information on how to change your delivery day. A live agent will need to help you with it since it's your first delivery." In other words, you're not providing me with information on how to change it, Basil. You're sending me to a human to do it, which strengthened the suspicion I had that they don't actually let you do it yourself, which is weird. Now, I didn't record the chat I had after connecting to a live agent. I ended up switching to another window to look through the site while talking to them, and that's the window it was recording. Though I want to make it clear that for privacy reasons, I wouldn't have included it anyway. I also think it's a bit tactless to publicize a conversation with someone just doing their job, depending on the circumstances. And for the record, the agent was lovely. But as I suspected, they kept tiptoeing around my request to know how to change the delivery date myself instead of offering to do it for me. When they finally caved and told me where to go, it was back to that same address page where the option didn't exist, and that's what killed my review. Now, you may think that's dramatic, but being able to change the date of delivery, including the first one, should be the bare minimum for these services, because the convenience isn't just the food, it's also the convenience of having it delivered. And that's not very convenient if you can't choose when it happens. I'm also not a fan of services that require you to speak to an employee to do something that should be self-service, which leads me to my next complaint. While chatting with the agent, who was still trying very hard to retain my business despite me telling them it was okay and to have a good day, I found the page to cancel my subscription. I don't want a full-on rant about company retention practices, so I'll just say this. When a customer is no longer interested in your services, you get one chance to ask why and offer something to keep them around. If they say, "No thanks, I'm good, I've thought it through, and I don't need or want it," you should let it go, because the only thing that upsets a customer more than whatever prompted them to leave in the first place is you not letting them. Back to Factor, I clicked on the option to cancel the subscription, which took me to this page. And notably, they don't allow you to enter your own reason for canceling. You have to pick from one of the reasons they provide. So I chose something and clicked Deactivate Now, which took me to another page requiring me to give feedback on the experience before I could proceed. I put something or other just to continue and clicked deactivate my plan. Deactivation seemed successful given that I now had the option to reactivate, but I noticed something strange. Underneath that, it still said I had a box arriving on May 24th. Worse, it also said I could no longer make any changes to said box when, prior to canceling the subscription, it said I had until May 17th to edit the meals. Luckily, I was still on chat with the agent, who was still trying to get me to stay even though I already told them my subscription was gone with the wind, end. But I asked them how to cancel the order since it said it would still be arriving, and they said they'd do it for me. And for the sake of knowing, I asked if there was a way for me to do that myself, and they said there is, but they're doing it for me since I had trouble with it. Sure. I thank them for all of their help because they were genuinely decent, and I know their irritating attempts at retention were just the product of the profit machine. But long story short, the whole thing turned me off from Factor, probably for good. I would have loved to review it for you guys given how ubiquitous it is in the meal kit space, but my reviews aren't just about food. They're about the service as a whole. That's why I talk about the ordering process, the delivery, and the unboxing. So I can't overlook the fact that ordering and canceling Factor just wasn't up to par with other companies I've tried. It also gave me this gut feeling that other problems would be inevitable if I continued with them. Never mind having to send their emails to spam now because unsubscribing didn't kick in. But that's just my opinion on my experience. You might like Factor's setup and love their food. If so, bully for you. Let me hear about your journey with Factor in the comments, good or bad. Like the video if you liked it. Thanks so much for watching MBM, and I'll see you snackies when I'm backies.